Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is JGod. In today's video we're going to be doing a gameplay breakdown, and as obviously you can tell from the gameplay in the background, it will be of Blackout, which is a little bit different than I normally like to do on the channel. But I've gotten more than a few comments asking for tips and tricks and maybe to do a gameplay breakdown even of my subscribers. So if that's something you're interested in, let's make sure we get this video to 500 likes as quick as possible so I'll know whether or not that's something you guys would be interested in. Also, if at any point you do enjoy the video and you'd like to find your way back to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button with notifications on. Let's go ahead and get into the breakdown. So the first thing we're going to take a look at is where we're dropping. We're actually going to drop at an unnamed location because we want to try and drop, loot up, and then make sure that we can get the best chance of winning. But obviously with the battle royale and 100 people dropping, there's no guarantee that where you're going to land is going to have 50 people or 2. So in this particular scenario, since the flight path was so high, we tried to jump out pretty quickly and then land for a specific location very near the line. Keep in mind that the sooner you land, the faster you are able to loot before the storm actually collapses. So you don't necessarily feel rushed when you need to move from one location of the map to the next. And from this perspective, you can see that 3 other people are landing in addition to my teammate. And being 100% honest with you, I'd never actually land at this location, so I had no idea where the loot was. I didn't even know if this was a good landing spot, but that's how you find out, through trial and error. You got to land at new places, find out, experience what it's like. And then right here, since I didn't get a chance to get a weapon, I know someone's inside that building. I go ahead and cycle over to my teammate since they've already taken someone down. I know they have a weapon. They told me it's pretty much clear, so I'm able to run through the building and kind of loot it a little bit more safely. So unfortunately for this first building, there really wasn't much left in there. I got the Moser revolver and I got the Strife pistol. Luckily, I do get a trauma kit, so I'm able to bring my health to 200, but I still do not have body armor. So one of the best habits to get into is as soon as you know where the zone is, you could start paying attention to what you need to do going forward. So right now it's going to say that the zone's collapsing, and then I go ahead and check the mini map immediately. And that gives me a good idea of what we need to do and how fast we need to move. We have about 2 minutes to start moving towards that direction. The zone will close slowly on that first zone, and we're not so far out that it's going to take us forever. So we're not really in a bad spot. We can actually take this engagement. A lot of times you got to be wary of that, because if they take too much time focusing on one specific guy, you can end up getting caught in the storm, running into the zone, and getting in trouble that way. Right here, I see the 2 different mesh mines. I go ahead and take those out. I know that I'm in a pretty good spot right here because of the way the angle of that stairway was. The guy could not really see me, but we know that the guy's still up there, so we got to figure out how to get up there, or at least kill the guy, because we know that there's some mesh mines there, so we got to play it as smart as possible. I'm trying to peek the window, seeing if I see anything. I spot the dude, end up taking him out with the pistol. Now we know that we could at least go upstairs. We're safe. That was the only guy left. He didn't have another teammate because he insta-downed. Got to be careful going up the stairs. You could still hear that mesh mine, and it ends up going off because the guy died. And sadly, since that guy was just camping upstairs, he didn't really gather much loot, so there's not really much to take from him. So as you can see, I fast forwarded just a little bit, but right here we can see that the zone is starting to collapse. It's going to collapse very slow, so we got plenty of time, and we're moving towards that general direction, trying to clear some of the buildings on the way, hoping to get body armor. So as you can see, we found a quad, and that was able to get us to the next building where I was able to jump in the window and find some body armor. But one thing you're going to notice is I actually played this entire match without a backpack. So obviously if you've played Blackout enough, you know how important a backpack is. So playing without one, you're at a significant disadvantage when it comes to all the different equipment. So I fast forward just a little bit. We're still following that straight line. We just left the building we were just at, and now we're kind of heading towards this way, straight line, pretty much to try and get to the objective. Then we spot a guy, end up thinking, hey, let's go ahead and take him out. I land a pretty good number of shots. He starts running away. I don't know what the heck his problem was. We jump out, he gets run over, and then we know someone is upstairs. So I go ahead and listen to my teammate. He says, hey, he's up top. He's up top. So I go ahead and reposition. It looked like he was able to land a few different shots on him. And since I only have one mesh mine, I shoot it out there. That's more of a scare tactic than anything, because one mesh mine isn't really going to do much in my opinion. So by shooting it out, the guy knows he had to kind of hang out upstairs. So I start casually crouch walking all the way up there. I don't want the guy to hear me. Obviously, my teammate ends up stomping around. Wish you would have dead silence in this scenario like this, but obviously we did not. So I'm crouch walking. You can see him run up. I'm going and taking it slow, and I'm not sure exactly where the guy is. I'm thinking the guy's somewhere up here. I end up focusing on this side while my teammate jumps up in the back behind me. So at least in this scenario, we can perform a pinch. We go ahead and run out, not sure exactly where the guy is. Maybe he thought he jumped out. He comes up out of nowhere. I end up snapping on him. He had low health, so we take him out. So after we get all situated, we start running in this direction towards the bridge. I do see the vehicle pulled up. I end up seeing a quad jump kind of across. So I'm not sure exactly what was going on, but it looked like a couple different people were fighting. So we're just walking up this way, knowing that more than likely they are all distracted. When we get to the truck, no one was there, but we decide we want to use this to get closer to the zone. As I make this right turn, I end up getting kind of a little bit off course, getting shot at. I try to weave a little bit and crash into this side rock. The advantage we have at this point is we know exactly where the enemy is and he has to come to us. So we can do what's called gatekeeping, and you just kind of hold off waiting for the person to come from outside the zone into the zone. So you know the direction they're going to be coming in. They're really limited on what they can and can't do. The guy's better bet would have been to not shoot us, especially since he couldn't kill both of us in one shot. So even though my teammate's very low health, what I do is go ahead and push out to the edge of the storm. Obviously, since I have the armor and the health, I'm going to need to be the one that takes this engagement. So all I'm doing is peeking, see if I can see anyone coming from out of the storm. I push up, try and get a little bit of higher ground in case the guy tries to sneak around so we don't get flanked on. So I go ahead and peek it, expecting I'm going to see somebody, and then I'm just waiting it out. There should be some guy coming around, and this is a smart play to do. Obviously, the guy shot at us. He gave away his position. Now our job is to not let him live, because if we wait too long, he's going to be the guy who shoots us in the back. Luckily, as I come around this way, I do end up spotting the guy, and we end up in the perfect scenario to actually pinch the guy. Because I went up on this high ground, as the guy comes right in front of me, he's going to be between me and my teammate, which makes it really easy to clean him up. He's very focused on my teammate. He ends up firing a couple shots at him. Ends up distracted, so I line up the shot, make sure it's good. End up taking the guy out pretty easy. Insta downs, that means he doesn't have any friends with him. And that's a good tactic to use when you play in duos and quads. Right here, I obviously skip over that backpack since I'm not trying to pick up a backpack this match. It just worked out that way in the beginning. I decided to carry it on through, since we were a good chunk through the match. So once I'm done looting, my teammate tells me there's someone near him. I start shooting at the guy, trying to take him out. End up missing a few shots there. The guy makes it into the building. Now that I know I got this mesh mine, pretty much set up the guy where he has no option other than to jump out the window or die. So knowing how these buildings work is there's pretty much only a few different exit and entry points. There's 2 windows on the other side, 2 windows on this side, and then there's that doorway. So I go ahead and block off the doorway with the mesh mine, pretty much set it up so that guy cannot escape. I go and throw in my nade at the same time my teammate throws a Molotov from the other side, and that's pretty much a wrap for that guy. So after we loot that general area, we go ahead and push towards the zone, but sticking around to the outer edge. And the main reason you do that is just to kind of clear out the area, because if you go directly for the zone, more than likely you're going to get shot in the back by someone doing the exact same thing. And the nice thing is, as we ran in this general direction, we started to hear gunfire to the southeast, so we knew someone was coming from that general direction. They were fighting right at the outside of the storm, so we knew we could either third party, sneak up, get a couple easy kills, shoot people, team shoot, whatever we got to do to clear the area. I'm just tracing the edge of the storm. As I come up, the guy ends up running out, end up meleeing him, and then I'm ready for that next gunfight after I do that reload. I know there is another enemy. I can't necessarily spot him. My teammate kind of spots him. I kind of do a little bit of movement here, sliding around, trying to dodge, engage, throw a Molotov, and then I end up getting hit with the Molotov at the exact same time. Not sure exactly what happens here, because when I get lifted up, you're going to see that I have like 145 health, which is kind of weird because I only had like 20 health. Then the Molotov ended up killing me. I got to end up with the 125 health. Not sure exactly why that happened, but I'm grateful it did, because as I come out of the storm, we're still getting shot at. So we took that guy down. We worked as a team. I was able to get revived really quickly, and now we're fully healed. My teammate doesn't have body armor, so that's another issue we have to run into. But we got to play this as smart as possible. He took a little bit of the low ground. I'm taking the high ground. End up aiming for this guy, taking him out. So even though this guy instant down, my teammate said, hey, there's probably another guy over here. So that's kind of what we're on the lookout for. A lot of times you got to be curious. Hey, is there another guy in the area? We're already kind of in that top 10 scenario. There's only 10 other players. So right here, I start getting shot from somewhere random left. I don't know exactly from where. My teammate was actually shooting at them, but from my vantage point, I really couldn't get a good look at them. And that's where I decide to push with my teammate. I get a little bit better vantage point. Hopefully there's a little bit of high ground on the left will protect me a little bit. They are starting to shoot. And that's one of the hardest parts about fighting in this area. There's so many different rocks. When someone says, hey, the guy's behind a rock, it's very hard to tell exactly which rock they're behind. Since we know this area needs to be clear and we hear that sensor dart, at least my teammate called it out before I even got there, I decided to shoot my sensor dart just to play it safe. We go ahead and push in the building. So knowing that this back area is clear with this sensor dart and those guys are considerably far, we decide we need to get a little bit of loot. I do want to go ahead and peek real quick to see if I can get a look at exactly where those guys are, primarily to find out if they're pushing. But as I peeked, all I did is see the little tip of the guy's head and a rock really far away. I decided to shoot a few shots, not necessarily full firing, I do get a hit marker, and hopefully that scared the guy off enough where he kind of stayed in that general direction. So right there, pretty much nothing happened. I fast forwarded. Earl now has body armor, and pretty much we're kind of locking down this building, listening for gunfire and waiting till that zone collapsed, which it looks like a lot of players did because it was still 12 players until just now. Right here, we were in less than ideal situation. We knew that these guys were on the left, but I couldn't spot them. They were probably camping behind a rock or something. I couldn't really tell you from this vantage point. And then I end up getting shot from this right direction. I try to heal, make a move to cover. I don't have a ton of heals, but I am able to bring myself back up to full health. And now I'm just kind of hanging out under this position. Right here, it gets a little bit tricky because we are under the bridge. We know that more than likely these guys up top will not jump off. But I'm still worried about these guys in the corner that we initially fought way back when, that I hit the tip of his head hiding behind the rock. So right here, I'm just trying to keep the vantage point as tight as possible to the edge of the rock, because obviously if someone's at an angle, they won't necessarily be able to see us, even if they're able to hear us. So it looks like someone throws a random nade because they obviously don't have a vantage point if they're not shooting at us. And it looks like as I come around this edge, ideally what we want to do is get a little bit higher so we can actually see what's going on. We are a little bit low. He calls out where the player is. We end up team shooting him. The guy ends up going down pretty instantly, and we clean him up. So we know he has one teammate left. Doesn't look like the guy's close to him at all. As we peek around here, I do end up seeing the tip of the guy's head again. I go behind the rock, call out the shot, go ahead and jump up. We team shoot, take the guy out, and insta-melt him. As I get up, I do see the teammate, so I just start pre-firing as the guy comes around. Pretty much take him out pretty easily. And now we got to get the high ground. There's still 5 players left. We got to play this smart. Already got 7 kills, 7 cleanups. And knowing that those guys were camping that edge of the storm for the entire time, more than likely all the enemies are going to be on the west, northwest, or north side of us. So as we come up, I do peek the left area just in case, because you never know if someone's coming all the way around, and we start hearing gunfire. So we start pressing towards that area. It looks like a lot of action's going on. Looks like a lot of the remaining players just start cannibalizing each other. And we end up in a 2v1 situation, which obviously we're going to clutch up. Hopefully you did enjoy the video. If you like these types of breakdowns and would like to see more of these in the future, please remember to hit that like button, subscribe with notifications on, and go ahead and comment down below saying you like this type of breakdown. In addition to that, if you'd like to have your subscriber gameplay broken down, and that's something you'd like to see on the channel, make sure you read the description below so you can find out how you can actually have your gameplay broken down. See you guys all in the next one. Appreciate the support. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a great day.